All right, and we should be
Hey,
live.
there we are. We are live. We are live, baby. Internet's best kept secret back again for like week number 75. I think we're getting up there.
This would be week 53. Actually, now that you mention it, this is the 1 year anniversary of our first show.
Week 53. We actually lasted a year somewhat. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Whoa,
Cool.
week 53.
Yeah, I believe it's week. Well, actually, we missed a couple of shows.
50. No, that makes sense. I don't know what happened there. It said recording stopped. Did Adam get tossed and I'm still going on YouTube? Let's open that up, folks, and let's have a peek and see what is going on. Live. Oh, this should be fun. All right. Are we live? I don't know if we're live. It says we're live on YouTube, so let's see if I can catch up here. All right. There it is. Once again, folks, Adam is back connecting volume. I just realized that I is now the host. Perfect. Adam, are you there? I don't know. We are having some technical difficulties. I don't think it's on my end because we are live on YouTube. There he is again. There he is again. How you doing? How you doing? Audio's connected.
I am good.
Everything seems to be fine. The recording is stopped in the Zoom media button. If you want to continue and hit the record button, Adam.
I'm gonna hit record. Oh.
Okay, so now we're back. Week 54, like we were saying, kind of threw me off. My phone was a little off before I could share it. So, Adam, welcome back to the show, my friend. Week 54. It seems that we are having a good time when it comes to things bailing out on us.
So, for those unaware, I actually had to get a new computer this week. So, I'm getting a little bit used to it. There's a lot of little things where it's like, oh, yeah, this button does this on my computer, but it does something different on this one. And it closes the chat or closes the...
Okay. You know what, man? That happens, man. Trust me. Every day for me is like a new day. So we'll try again. Let me just week 5. We're going to go 54. We're going to call it Club 54. That's it.
So what I was saying when I left is I don't know if we're actually at week 53 because there's 52 weeks in a year. We're one past it, but we have missed a show here.
We missed a show or there. So you know what? We're going to say we've been, the show's been together, you and I, 54 weeks. Who's going to call us out? Only the internet trolls will.
And we have a lot of them.
We do. We get trolled quite often. So, man, how has your week been?
It's been good, man. How about yours?
Good, man. We did it last Saturday. So Father's Day was a big hit over here at the JM household. It was a good day.
That's good to hear, man.
Sit in front of a barbecue and do all that fun stuff, and had a good time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
How is the little guy?
Little guy's getting big. Slowly starting to learn how to crawl now. He's in this stage. He's in the stage now where he sits. So he's in the crawling position, like he's like on all fours, but he doesn't understand how his front hands work.
Okay.
So like what he does is he moves his back legs up, and then he moves his front legs, and then he moves his back legs up to like his hands, and then falls on his stomach and then moves up, and it's kind of looks a little funny, but he's getting around a little bit. Or my favorite is he'll do like a 180 and then roll over to it and then gets his toy on the ground. You're like,
that's cool.
Smart. Pretty smart, kid.
So you're seeing him sort of learn on the go. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to mess with him. He likes to try and roll over to the dog and touch the dog, and then the dog runs away.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, that's
how's the dog getting along with him?
Great. Yeah, because now we're at the stage where he doesn't have teeth yet, but we're starting to like try him on different foods.
Yeah.
So like now he's starting to think it's funny to like drop food on the floor, and like the dog is right there and he's eating it, and the kid's laughing. You're like, okay, so that went to the dog.
That's awesome. So he likes feeding the dog. That's
yeah,
great.
I love feeding the dog. Like that just feeds the dog, and then the dog just starts giggling, or he'll start giggling, and then he starts laughing. Everybody's having a good time. The wife's yelling at the kid, "Eat the food!" Dog's eating it, having a good time. Right?
He's making friends.
That's all you can do.
Yeah, man, that's great. That's great.
Let's good shout out to the Montreal Canadiens for making it to the Cup final. Stanley Cup final, first hockey team in 10 years, Canadian hockey team in 10 years, make it to the Cup final. They did what I appreciated, and they kind of rioted Montreal, did a few $1 million in damage in downtown Montreal, which is always classy, and that's what I like Montreal doing.
That's cool. The first time in 10 years. When was the last time?
Vancouver, when they had those riots.
My foot's asleep right now. Sorry.
Okay, so is your brain.
I remember my beret. What does that mean?
Brain.
Oh, now my foot's asleep. Yeah, I remember being in Calgary during Red Mile. I wasn't a hockey fan, but it was pretty fucking
Yeah,
wild.
it was. Is that not crazy to be part of that though? When your
Yeah,
team and I could we like as hockey, if any hockey fans are watching it, the Red Mile to me was probably the one that I wished I was there for because
yeah.
it was absolutely amazing. But let me just explain to you how. Have you ever been to Montreal, Adam?
No, I've wanted to, but I haven't made it quite
Wanted
there
to.
yet.
Okay. But anyways, where the Bell Center is, it's by Old Montreal. Long story short, a bunch of bars, because that's what you're going to do. You build a bunch of bars around an arena like they have in Calgary in the Saddle Dome. But because of the COVID rules, bars were only allowed to host so many people.
Okay.
So along the street where they were partying, they had it all fenced off and they could only host X number of people. Well, there was 20,000 people downtown
Okay.
that were that were just like breaking COVID rules. Now, my question to you is why are they not allowing people in the restaurants? If you're going to allow 10,000 people to congregate like side by side, why would you not allow a bar to be open to make money?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Do you know what I mean?
Know.
Like, so if you're in a bar, you're going to be 10 inches, you got to be, 6 feet apart. But if you're outside, you got to be an inch and a half.
Well, they seem to believe that the virus doesn't really transmit outdoors as well as indoors. I don't really know very much about that. So,
yeah, I'm not a scientist
yeah.
either, man. I'm not going to pretend to play CNN, but I mean, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, I don't know much about that. Yeah, I had something I wanted to say about Red Mile, but I kind of got sidetracked there.
Now, the Red Mile, were you drinking back then?
Oh yeah, I was still drinking back then.
Okay, so you were having a time. So you were, and I know you're not a sports guy. I know you're not a hockey fan at all. You follow sports that are dying, but you are
don't follow any sports.
Well, sports entertainment.
Oh well, that's not really. That's I wouldn't say that's dying, but that's not really a sport. That's more of a performance art.
That is a performance art. I will give you that one. No, so like you probably had no idea what was going on. I hope you wore a Calgary shirt though.
Well, that was what was interesting, actually, to be honest, is growing up in Ontario, walking around North Bay, it's like everybody's in. It's sort of divided between like Montreal Canadian and Toronto Maple Leafs. Everywhere you go, Montreal, Toronto. You didn't really see a lot of stores that are sort of representing that pride, but everybody in town is wearing like a jersey or a shirt or whatever. It was pretty common. And then I go out to Calgary and it really is like religion because everyone everywhere is wearing Calgary Flames everywhere, and plenty of stores where they had Calgary Flames shit all over them. It's just, I didn't really get it. It was like being in a different, a country that worships a different religion everywhere. Instead of having crosses, they've got these Calgary Flames shit all over.
I'm honestly not going to lie to you. That is a religion in Calgary.
Yeah.
Well, in most cities, like the sports, their major professional sports team, especially if they only have one, like that's religion. It's crazy.
But I will say that the second they got kicked out of the playoffs or whatever it was, everybody was sort of somber at the bars, and they're like, well, I like Edmonton anyway, so I'm an Edmonton guy now.
But like, it's true. But what you don't know is that Calgary did get screwed out of a cup. It's been a proven fact. But it was the cup final, so there was no more hockey after it. So you were the first loser. So like, we're the Leafs are like, we're like the 10th loser, where we're already over it, moving on to the next one. The poor Flames fans were at the end of their rope, and that was a good run. You were part of a good party scene back then, because that was like cheap beer and party all day, and it was cool as long as you were sporting a team.
No, you didn't even have to sport a team. It was just a big party.
Well,
I didn't have any jersey or anything. Like, I didn't care. I was just going to get drunk, right? Like,
just going to get juiced. Hey, when you got the game on tonight, I love those guys. Were we watching football? Yeah,
actually, to be honest, there was a guy that we both knew that I was roommates with, and he'd go down and he'd just pick a random name, and he's like, "Can't wait to see blah 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 score a goal tonight, eh?" And
dude, that's
people are like, "Yeah, you're the man."
Yeah, bro. Oh yeah. You pick some fourth liner. You think that guy got 3 minutes game last time?
He'd talk to one guy and be like, "Yeah, who are you cheering for tonight?" And they'd go, "So and so's gonna win." And then he'd go to the next person and be like, "Can't wait to see so and so fucking win tonight."
Yeah, that's it, man. You got to party. You got to get along.
He also gave me some advice. when I was in Calgary trying to sort of learn the way of Calgary, trying to get around, he's like showing me left, right, how to get around town. And he's like, if you ever get lost, here's some advice. Ask the hottest girl you know for directions. And I go, well, that might make sense. She's probably dated more guys. She's hot. She's probably, had more boyfriends or been around with more guys. And he's like, what? No, I don't know about, well, I mean, maybe, I guess that makes sense. Just, you can ask anybody, but this way you got an excuse to talk to a hot chick.
That, I'm glad that you got my message.
What message?
That message that you learned, that's a story from me that I told him when I was in Ottawa by myself.
Before you were in Ottawa.
No. I got lost in Ottawa when I was down there when I was like 19 with my buddy. And I asked the hottest chick because I'm like, well, she's going to know I'm talking to a hot chick. She literally gave me the best advice. And I told that to our friend.
But he wasn't saying to ask a hot chick because they knew better. He was saying
no, because you get to talk to a hot chick.
Talk to a hot chick, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I had to go from Montreal Avenue to Orleans. I got lost, and she's like, "Yeah, this is what you got to do," and wrote it all down for me. Thank you very much. Got her phone number right after. Yeah, that's great. I love that guy too. He's a good man.
Do you want to get into the show?
Let's get into the show, shall we?
All right, so I guess we've got to start with something a little bit sombering today. As the story, more news is broken in Saskatchewan about 751 more unmarked graves in residential schools.
All right, who's going down, me or you? Okay, we're looking okay. Yeah, it's when do we call them a terrorist group?
I mean, I don't know if I would call them terrorist groups, but they're.
Well, I'm telling you, they're fucking pretty goddamn close.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, we said this a couple of weeks ago. Where's Ontario's numbers? Where's Quebec's numbers? Yeah. Where's everybody else's numbers? Are we just starting from the West Coast and slowly picking our way through and kind of slowly working through it?
On that note, I can only imagine Ontario's have probably got to be the worst, right? Like I would think that Ontario is probably the population of Ontario. Like
I want to say we would probably be the worst. Now this is a horrible thing to want to be number one at, but I would think that we would have, unless I tried to see how far they ship these kids, and they seem to want to move them, but not move them too far. Because I was like, did they kind of like pull a Germany and ship them all out, like all away from their families, like that far away? Like, did they? But no. It seems that they all wanted to keep them that close. Now, one child dies. And let me just use like a rhetoric that people can understand. One person gets shot with a gun. They want gun control, right? Sure. They say, take all the guns away.
Sure.
We're up to just under 2,000 children without voices in unmarked graves, and we're okay. Oh, don't worry about it. We got to push this. We got to push that. When's enough? To me, one child in an unmarked grave that was killed or raped or whatever have you is one too many.
Yeah.
When do our politicians grab the balls and say, you know what? This is what you're gonna do. We got to strip of their taxes. 2, they're tax exempt. You're paying fucking taxes now. That's what we got to do. 2, I think better set up a fucking fund. And I mean, not like $500,000 fund. I want $1 billion fucking dollars in that cocksucker to help all these poor bastards out that have been, like, families have been just destroyed.
Yeah. And, so these are 2 interesting points. Is the tax thing, I think churches should pay taxes for separate reasons, but that would be a good step forward. But the other point that you're making is, what are they doing to try to create some sort of reparation, to try to apologize?
The Pope said sorry. Fucking sorry. Give me a fucking break. Listen, I get drunk and tell you to go fuck yourself. You're going to get an apology from me. You literally murdered children. You raped and pillaged children. Yeah. It wasn't a war. It was you wanted to flex your muscles, and you took ripped children out of their homes and told their parents, don't worry, we're a church. We believe in God. We want to do this. We want to do that. And then what you want to do is we're going to educate them. When they come back, it's going to be better for you. And then we're going to rape and pillage them. And everybody's going to be on it. And you're not even going to see these kids again.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a terrible thing. And it's honestly, we take a lot of pride in being Canadians, and we like to say that we don't have this racist history, but it's in our face, and we kind of have to own it now and deal with it. And it's one thing for us as Canadians to do that, but when you hear about the Catholic Church, and there's been so much said, like I've talked to a few people that have defended the church in the last couple of days, and they say, well, that was in the past. This is not people of today. Okay, well, what are you doing to fix it today? This is your organization. This is the Catholic Church was responsible, and you can say, well, that was people from before. Well, what are you doing now to fix it? You have, this is built, let's face it, it's $1 billion corporation. That's what it is. It's the product is God or religion. And why aren't you taking that money and trying to help the lives that you've already fucking destroyed in the past?
Well, it's great. It's great when you hit the nail on the head, Adam. Basically, and then they say, "Well, we're not that bad." And then you go, "That was in the 60s and 70s and 80s,
in the 90s."
Hang on, I'm getting there. And then 90s, and then there possibly could have been one in the early 2000s. We don't know. They're saying there could have been one that was kind of low key, that wasn't talked about in the early 2000s. Here's the fucking problem with the Catholic Church. Then don't stop there. Go back another 20 years and then watch what Germany did and how they moved around with the Catholic Church. And then everything kind of comes through for you. When do we sit down and when do we say the Catholic Church, the organization, is a terrorist fund organization?
I mean,
listen,
I don't know if I'm willing
Church,
to say that they're a terrorist organization, but they've certainly done a lot of terrible things. I shared a meme on my Facebook saying the most rapes and murders responsible in Canada are done by nuns and popes, right? Like
nuns, bishops, priests.
Can you name an organization like a mafia or a biker gang or anything? I can't really think of if you think about it, if you consider it an entity and compare apples to apples, what other entity has been responsible for more loss of life and suffering than the Catholic Church?
No, hang on. This is where it's a little different. I'm going to take them all. I'll use the Hells Angels because they're still around now, because they're out there. They do things for children. Kids can't afford bikes. Don't worry. There's a bike rally for the kids. The HA come by and they give you free bikes out of a shop. The kids, even in the mafia, the families and kids are treated are respected to no end. The church. Yeah. It's like, no, it's okay. You're this and you're that, and you're allowed to hurt children because they're voiceless. The church is backwards. If you were to give the Italian mafias and the Russian mafias, and you were to give them the opportunity to kill pedophiles, I'm pretty sure they would just destroy the Catholic Church at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some. Yeah, I think that they would absolutely kill pedophiles given the opportunity. There is some overlap between the mafia and the Catholic Church, though, at the same time. But obviously, I don't know. Certain
aspects of it, especially when you're talking the Italian influence and stuff to that nature, I completely understand it. But is there more rapes and things to this nature from the Catholic Church overseas that we don't hear of? Like I'm talking like Europe's and the Asias and things like that. Is there more pillaging out there, or is that like a Canadian thing where they were just like, fuck it, just go to Canada, it's free reign over there, and they just took them, and our leaders at the time accepted them because of who they were?
I'm sure that there's just as much. I mean, I wouldn't say just as much, but given the opportunity, I'm sure it would happen in any country. This was a special situation where we have a racial situation where the whole concept of residential schools was to try to integrate Native Americans into the white culture, which in and of itself is
Native Canadians, but yes.
Okay, sure. North American. So that's where Native American comes from. Yes. But with that said, they'd take this culture and try to integrate them into the white culture, which in and of itself is a racist thing. Like you need to integrate people into the white culture. It's just wrong. And then you take that situation, and then these children are taken away from their family, their parents. They're not given a voice, and the opportunity for these predators to do what they've done. It's a terrible perfect storm that happened. And I don't know of that happening in another country, but you're saying, is this a Canadian problem? I'm sure if there was a situation like this in other countries, it would be the same story.
So my question to you is, and I'm going to look at our friends in the south of us, which is America.
Sure.
You're looking at police defunding the police is becoming stupid popular. You know what I mean? Like everybody's saying, Seattle's defund the police, do all this stuff. When are we defunding the Catholic Church? When is that? There's a debate to defund everything, and you could say this is, it just seems to me that now we've lost so many children.
The thing is, I don't believe, well, I mean, we can get into a debate about it. The church isn't necessarily Catholic. The Catholic Church isn't necessarily government funded. It's generally funded by members of the community who they sort of dupe into contributing to their.
Okay. So I got it. So if you don't know how the Catholic churches work, we went to Catholic school, then went to high school. You give an X number of dollars to the church. Mm-hmm. The church then gives you a charitable receipt that you can claim off of your taxes. Sure. So when I came down to Belleville, I was part of a church, and they had said, like, do you want it? If you did every month, we'll give you this sheet that you can claim on your taxes. What if we took away that tax break? Well, you think people would still, like, I'm not even saying if we don't want to go after the church, then go after the constituents, which isn't fair because all of them to me, the ones that I've met down here are amazing human beings.
Well, what I was going to go, and you're going in the same direction that I'm thinking is, when I said the church isn't necessarily government funded, it is tax exempt, which is a sort of government funding, right? It's the government is saying you don't have to pay taxes. If the government said you've got to pay your fair share of tax for this corporation, because that's what it is, it's a corporation that markets God, markets a service, right? Then I can't even imagine how much. I mean, they got fucking palaces with fucking gold in the Vatican, like gold fucking thrones. These people are living pretty nice lives off of not being taxed. And perhaps that's, like you said, a step that we could be taking to stop government funding of this church, because they don't all Catholics. And what I've got to ask is the best of the Catholic Church, what exactly are they doing? They're sort of pressuring you to live a lifestyle that they deem is right, but it's not up to me what is a good lifestyle. It's up to them.
Well, and let's talk about that for a second, because we both went to I'm going to use high school we went to as an example. Sure. Like, you want to talk about oppressing you if you had a change of mind is absolutely ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Like when you take in grade 11, you take world religions, and they slowly give you a little bit of every religion. And Sure. Then by the time you're that age, you should have the idea that you want to think about it. You should have the idea, go, shit, you know what? If I wish my parents would have allowed me to become Jewish or Buddhist or things to that nature. And then when you ask those questions to your teacher, who's in her second year, and say, mm-hmm. hey, how hard is it to convert to Judaism? Mm-hmm. And she goes, let me have a look for you. And then 3 days later, you get pulled into an office with your guidance counselor, Brother Ed, and a vice principal and a principal, saying that, why are you asking these questions? And why do you want to convert to becoming, to switching over to Judaism? And I'm like, whoa.
Is this something that happened to you?
Yeah, of course it did. So I'm like, guys, it was a question. I think we were only given this. I want to know how hard or easy it was to convert to a different religion. It wasn't anything, I don't even think malice by it. But I'm like, yeah, no,
there's nothing malice to converting religions.
No, and it was just, these are questions. And then when you ask these questions and they come down and oppress you, you're like, what the hell is going on here?
But that aside, the pressure to stay within the church is there. We both know that. The pressure to convert people into the church is there. They've done missionary missions where they basically go to other cultures and they impose their culture onto other people to try to convert them into basically customers for the church. But there's other things that once you're a customer, you're expected to behave a certain way. Like for the longest time, and even still to this day, in some ways, if you're a gay person, that's not okay.
Well, the Catholic, I'll stop you there. The Catholic Church is slowly pumping the hate brakes on that, and now they're pumping the love brakes. And this is exactly why. And when they did this, I wasn't upset. I said, well, okay.
But wait, before you go too far down that rabbit hole, I realize that this is sort of an outdated example, but it is an example of like, what is how I live why are you telling me how to live my life? Like, what, No,
dude. And I'm the only thing I was going to add on to that is when you said customer, you hit the nail on the head. When the church realized, and they were looking at these beautiful pride parades, and they were looking at 20 million people that are going to Toronto, and it's a $3 billion week in Toronto, and all these worlds are having it because it makes money. The Catholic Church, like, we need to get those guys. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now the Bible tells me that whoever you love thy neighbor as you love thyself. Whatever the hell it is. And then you go, yeah, okay. I don't care what the Steves are doing in their domestic partnership. That has no effect on me. I don't care. But the Catholic Church now going, yeah, you come in if you're same-sex partners, you can come in and be with us because now they're customers. So they're losing customers or are getting educated like you and I. And then they're like, well, how do we get more customers? Well, we'll invite this group of people in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the church's numbers are dwindling, and that's what the Dark Ages were. Is once they saw that as people became more educated, the religious numbers dropped. They went through the Dark Ages where reading was not allowed and books were burnt and things like that. And now we're seeing that again as the internet is being more prevalent and people can research things on the internet and look into things for themselves and start to question things and understand and get answers. We're starting to see a rise in atheism and a drop in the Catholic Church. And you're also seeing, like you're saying, a lessening of the rules. The Pope has even said that atheists can go to heaven now. So it's almost like we gotta placate to as many people as possible. So you don't feel comfortable being religious because you're persecuting an atheist. Well, okay, they get into heaven too. We'll take the gloves off and come on in. We just want as many people to come in the church.
Well, no, here's the thing, right? Because I grew up with the Bible. So you kind of go off the Bible. The Bible says that, like, when you get up to the gates, and if you're truly sorry for the sins you've done, God will open the doors and you repent your sins and you'll be able to go to heaven. Well, that's so even if an atheist, like if there's an atheist that says, I don't believe in God and dies, and all of a sudden the pearly gates are there and he goes, oh shit, it was real. And he goes like, listen, man, I'm really sorry. He means it. That means that the gates will open and you'll be able to go.
Well, the Pope has actually said, never mind all that. The Pope has said if an atheist just lives a good life, is a good person, they get into heaven. They don't have to believe in God. They don't have to, as long as they're a good person, they do good, treat people right, they're into heaven. However, once the Pope said that, other people below him in the church were saying, no, that's not how it works. Immediately said, no, that's not, no.
Well, yeah, but that's becoming the Pope's all Politico, right? So, I mean, there's pushing back from the archbishops and all that fun stuff. But, man, so I think we're on the same boat. Let's make sure that the Catholic Church is not government funded. As well, what I'd like to see is, because I have seen quite a few churches, the churches where they are to pay property taxes, I think those churches would close down pretty quick. As they're usually in the center of town. So when I was out in Quebec City, one of the most beautiful churches I've ever been in is right in the old downtown Quebec, old downtown Quebec. And I think that I'm like, yeah, you're going to have, you have to pay a couple of $1,000s a week for taxes.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And now that you say that, I never even thought of that. The property taxes.
So like let's use the one you have downtown there, the Pro Cathedral. I'm not saying burn it down or anything, but that's downtown property. If you were to charge them some taxes, that looks about 5 or 6 acres. Like that's a lot of money.
That's just the location of the property combined with the size of the property. But you've got to realize that the building itself, that's got to be like a multi-million-dollar building. Like that's a beautiful, well-built, large building. Like if I wanted to build that for non-religious reasons, like that'd be a mansion, right?
But what if we just put a cross on it and called it a gathering every Sunday? Is that allowed to be?
It's tax-free.
Tax-free?
Yes. Yeah, you're right. So back to my original point, though, is I believe the church should pay taxes, irrespective of this situation. With or without this situation, I think the church should be held accountable to paying taxes. With that said, there's something terrible going on. And all I've heard from the church, and maybe you've heard different, but all I've heard is, well, it was a different time. We can't be held accountable. Why are we not seeing the church step forward and say, we're going to do whatever we can to make it right? We're going to pay. We're going to.
They've released records of everybody who was in there. In the church, they've made it all available to the RCP to go through it.
Financially you can't obviously compensate for killing of children, but what about financially making some sort of reparations for this?
It's gonna happen, because what I see happening is, like, if it was, like, let's say it's my uncle, or because maybe about to my wheelhouse now. My uncle died in a residential church or a residential school, and I'm the only one left in the family. Well, no, somebody's paying for that.
Yeah.
So then I would start suing, but it would probably become a class action lawsuit. So I think this is we're just scratching the surface here. As horrible as this sounds, it's going to get worse.
But I'm not even saying like necessarily paying the individual families, but perhaps contributing something to Aboriginal cultures that
but that's what I'm saying is they're going to wait until you see 75% of it and you go, holy shit. Because right now, if we're only at what are we, over 2,000 now?
I don't know the numbers. I know it's 751 now, and I don't remember what the number was a few weeks ago.
I'm going to use 2,000. I
don't think it's quite at 2,000, but
we're going to call it 2,000 because they probably missed a few. So we're going to say 2,000. We're not even, like we said in Ontario, man. We're only 50%, not even 50% done yet. You got to think that, like, some of the residential schools, the first ones that went down, have probably already been destroyed, and nobody's living in those areas anymore because they've all moved to different locations. So you got to go find all these in the woods. Like up north, we could probably find at least one by North Bay or Sudbury that's going to be around that is not even used anymore, right, from the 50s. So when we get a bigger scope on everything, that's what's going to happen. And magically, churches in BC now are now catching on fire. They have 4 or 2 after this weekend.
Oh, what a surprise! I mean, I don't think that's.
All I'm going to say to you is I believe that God is trying to reset. I think those were all naturally caught on fire. I can't speak for anything.
I'm going to say this, is I think that what happened was terrible, but I don't think setting fire to someone's house, because there is a priest that lives in these churches, usually, if they're still active churches. I don't think that arson, where people can die and contributing, I don't advocate that either. I realize that when you're saying that 751 children are dead, the first thing you want to do is go out and maybe kill some people that are responsible, and you care less about the lives of people who are associated with it. But I don't think that's the answer in my eyes either.
As long as nobody gets hurt, guys, I don't care. I don't even care if you think that I'm advocating for it. To me, it's unfortunate. What's happening should never have happened. I think our previous governments have allowed it to happen. They need to be held responsible as well. The Catholic Church needs to be held responsible as well. What I would do, now this is what I would do, is I would keep these churches as educational tools, and use them like they do with Auschwitz and some of the other internment camps or death camps they have overseas. Is I would use those as educational markers to say, this is what happened here, this is what we cannot allow to happen here, and this is why we need to have inclusion in everything. And I think that's what I would do. That's what I'm advocating for.
Absolutely. You know, I had a friend, like I said, just before the show went live, who was arguing with me about it, and he made the comparison to Nazi Germany. And I said a lot of different things, but one of the things that I said is perhaps the difference. One of the main differences, there's a lot of differences between that comparison, but perhaps the difference is that in Germany, they try to learn from their mistakes. And when you hear about the Catholic Church, it sounds like a lot of deflecting, a lot of like, well, that's not us. That was the old Catholic Church. We're not responsible for what they did. Whereas in Germany, we did a terrible thing. We're sorry. we want to learn from it and make sure it never happens again. And
Never
that's the big
happens
difference I
again.
see.
Exactly. No, dude, I'm with you 100%. Now, yeah, like they were saying, like it came out a couple of years ago that they were saying when they figured Trump was going to start a world war, Germany came out and said, like, we're going to be on the good side of starting a war this year. Like, but like in Germany, like people don't talk about it. Like it's there, they know about it. You can't avoid it. It's there, right? But like you cannot be a neo-Nazi there because you're persecuted 25 years in prison automatically. There's a lot of things that they're like, no, we don't want that. We don't want that to be our future or our past. We got to learn from our mistakes and we're going to be the best we can. And they have been. To me, they have been ever since one man ruined it for one man destroyed basically the world.
Yeah. Yeah, you actually reminded me of a wrestling story now. I don't know if you heard it. I think you might have. JBL was doing a tour.
Fuck.
Yeah, he was doing a tour in Germany. And in order to get heat, he decided to do a Nazi salute while in Germany. And he was almost in prison for 25 years. That's how fucking serious. Even when you're performing, that's how serious they take it there. I don't see that same seriousness from the church right now. Like I said, they've stripped. At the very least, they've stripped Aboriginals of their culture. Why are they not funding Aboriginal cultures to try to get some of that back? Or why are they not trying to, do the right thing and financially compensate some of these people?
Well, here's the reason why. Our government doesn't care about them either.
Well, it's not even the government. The church itself, though.
If the government cared about them, there would be a lot more press on them. But because the government, we have reserves that don't even have fucking drinking water, man.
I know.
You got to think about that. When our fearless leader, who's there now, I'm not even going to say his name, went up to the Attawapiscans and all these northern communities and said, all your women that are disappearing, we're going to have RCMP task force coming. We're going to solve all these crimes. Did absolutely nothing, and that was almost 8 years. That was 9 years ago, 10 years ago. Like, and now you think that a guy who's probably getting promoted by the Catholic Church is going to come back and say, oh, now you guys got to pay? Not a fucking chance. Until we get somebody in there who's got the balls to go after the Catholic Church, unfortunately, we could sue them. I'm hoping that they sue them, and I hope that they protest and they do all this stuff, because I'll go to protest. I'm in. But like, I'm not, until our government comes out and says something that they want to do something, it's pointless. You're basically just going to dig up your past and have to grieve it without the government help at all.
Yeah, it's sad. I'm not sure. Listen, I'm not sure what they can do. I'm just disappointed that they're not trying that the Catholic Church. If you want to sell me a line that we can't be held responsible for that we're not the people that the same Catholic Church that did this. If they're trying to sell me that line, the least they can do is try to make it right. At least take some of the responsibility.
Oh, but dude, like they're so like, do you know how many young Catholic churches and schools and stuff like that would go, okay, the Pope's going to be down at Skydome. He's doing a stadium tour. It's $10 a person to get in. All money goes towards the reparation for the residential schools. They'd probably make $1 billion through Canada. Mm-hmm. Like just from people going, hey, I want to go see the Pope. Here's $10. I don't really care. And then give it all they need to be taken down more than one notch. We need to knock them right off. Like we need, like you always say, if you want to kill the snake, cut the head off the serpent, right? That's what we got to do. But our government has no balls.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's all we've really got to say. Let's go from one story of racism in Canada to another story of racism in America. Sure. Derek Chauvin has been sentenced to 22 and a half years in prison for the murder of George Floyd.
Yeah. He's getting off. He's gonna win on appeal. Get ready for that one.
Why do you think he's gonna win an appeal? Why do you say that?
Absolutely. Because
so do you think he deserves this?
Not 22 years, no.
You don't. Why do you think he doesn't deserve 22 years?
Manslaughter, probably should have got 10.
I think that, man, I don't know how to fucking deal with you on this.
Well, no.
When I hear 22 and a half years.
No.
When I hear 22. Hang on. Listen, I fucking let you say a lot. When I hear 22 and a half years, I say, how did he get off so fucking light? This guy should be life in prison. He deliberately, slowly took the life of a man while people standing by watched him do it and shouted at him, "You are killing him," and he continued to do it. And he's a trained professional who knows exactly what he was doing and did it.
Correct. Done?
How is he not life in prison?
No.
How can you possibly, how can you grasp at straws to possibly say this man doesn't belong?
The
man knew exactly what the fuck he was doing. He took a man's life as he begged for his life, and people stood there and said, "You are killing him." He's a trained professional who knows exactly how to apply force. He's trained. Everyone in court testified. None of his techniques are police techniques. These are things that he did on his own and was not trained to do. He chose to do them. He chose to murder a man, and he knew better. Well, people told him he was doing it.
Correct.
How does he not belong behind bars?
10 years max.
Why?
That is manslaughter. It's not murder.
Do you know the definition of murder? Manslaughter is an accident. There's nothing accidental about this.
There is a lot of accident.
There's nothing accidental about this.
There is a lot accidental about this.
He fucking stood on a man's neck.
He did not.
Well, people stood there and said, "You are killing him," and he continued to do it. Well, he knowingly killed the man, and he's a trained professional who knows exactly what he was doing, and he did it. It didn't stop him for a second.
Correct. So the video showed that his knee was on his back. Correct.
Neck.
No, his back. Dude, before you come at me, just go watch the video.
I've seen the video. You've admitted on this fucking show that you've never watched the video.
The video of the police, the body cam of him on his back.
Derek Chauvin, you've said on this fucking show that you've never watched it before.
Oh, you are mad. No, I have. I had to because you yelled at me last time. So I went and educated myself. Listen, this is what I'm saying. This all could have been avoided. You are correct. His knee was on his back. I honestly believe
and
that
as you watch the life
now, as the jury
out of this man's body,
correct.
And as everybody said, you're clearly killing him. You didn't think that a reasonable person would say, "Oh my God, I'm killing him. I should stop."
Correct, but the reason he was charged, and I'm going by courts, is saying his knee was on his neck.
You're not going by courts because he was found guilty.
He's getting off on this, Adam. You need to get ready for that.
You're an idiot. I don't have any fucking time for this.
What are you talking about, man? All I'm telling you right now is that I believe that if they would have went 10, he should have got 10 years. He should have went to prison, but not for 22 years.
He should have went to prison for the rest of his life.
No, because the videos show different things. Now, what I'm telling you
is... You're the only
is,
person in the world that thinks it didn't show him deliberately murdering a man.
So why are the other cops not in prison right now?
They're actually being charged.
Are they being charged?
Yes, they are. Yes.
Now, when juries come out this fucking weekend, which you're not educated about, and say that the pressure from the fucking jurors were to find this guy fucking guilty.
Pressures from the jurors?
Yes, because juries have come out and said that wouldn't have been, there would have been a hung jury.
Bullshit.
Adam, you and I want to debate this, we can, but you're going to shut your mouth. The video I watched
because
from
you're
the cop.
Fucking wrong.
No,
I'm not wrong. You're
it should have been manslaughter.
Wrong.
It should have been manslaughter. And then
how can you honestly, being an intelligent person,
correct, yes.
Watch this video of a man slowly losing consciousness, stop breathing, while everybody can watch and see that the life is leaving his body? How can you watch that and say, "Oh no, he didn't know he was going to die. You couldn't tell he was going to die. It was an accident. He accidentally stood on his neck for 8.5 minutes. Accidentally let him die on the street." Well, everybody said you're killing him.
Adam, so I got into this debate earlier this weekend, and I got yelled at too, and I was like, "Listen, man,
because you're so far from fucking reality. People are trying to get some fucking sense into your head. I don't see how you can sit there and say it was an accident. It was manslaughter."
Well, because when you take up the other aspects of the situation,
there's no other fucking what aspects?
Okay, so how much fentanyl did he have in his system when he died?
That doesn't matter.
Okay, Adam. Okay, so if that doesn't matter, everybody that fucking died in North Bay from a fucking fentanyl overdose doesn't matter. You're a piece of shit.
How many people were standing on their neck? As they
watched their
fucking life slowly leave the person's body.
Listen,
as people
Adam.
were saying, you're obviously killing him, you need to stop, or you're going to kill him. Or any person, you don't need, he's a trained professional, he's a cop who's trained to use force to understand what he's inflicting on someone. There are laymen standing by who you don't have to know that education, who are watching it saying, you're obviously killing him, and he continued. He didn't give a fuck about killing him.
Correct. Okay, so he was just like, no, she's gonna die. Listen, my thing is, Adam, is I honestly believe he should have only gotten 10 years. Everybody in that group should have got 10 years, 50 years total. I think there was 5 of them. That's what I'm saying.
Agree to disagree. That's all I have to say.
But so if he wouldn't have died, if the fentanyl would have killed him in custody, then what would have happened? So what happens if he had a fentanyl overdose?
That's a different, he wasn't going to overdose on fentanyl. If you watch the video, like I said, if you watch the video, you could see the life leave this man's body as he's kneeling on his neck.
I thought he was leaning on his back from the video I watched, but I guess I was wrong from the court videos.
Did you see how?
Yes, did I watch the whole court case? Yes, I did. Because I got COVID.
Did you watch how you have COVID?
Or during COVID, during a COVID break, I watched, because I'm on break, it was on CNN, so I watched the whole trial. Okay. Yes, it was on, the knee was on his back.
Did you watch as his body became more and more limp? And after it went limp, he continued to lean on, let's say his back. Let's say his back.
Let's say his back. Okay, let's say for argument.
Fine. It's dead wrong, but let's pretend it was on his back. Did you watch him go unconscious? Did you watch him continue to apply pressure after he went unconscious? Correct. He wasn't moving for several minutes.
Dude, but like that's what I'm trying to get to you is that's manslaughter.
How's that manslaughter? That's
because nobody else, because and then even when my buddy said it, and my buddy was mad, and I gave it to him. My buddy was like, and then when they put him in the stretcher, they didn't try and resuscitate him. They just put him in the stretcher, put him in the thing. So I was like, okay, so a cop who let's just say has Mickey Mouse training. Let's say he's the worst cop in the world. Let's just say it. Why?
I don't think there's any reason to believe he has Mickey Mouse training.
Let's just assume he is, because let's just say we don't trust cops. Why didn't the paramedics not?
Why don't we just hold him accountable for what he did and say he had good training?
We did, but in my view, from what I've seen in the thing, I'm with you. I didn't think he got 22.5 years. I thought he was going to get 10. As I said, I thought he was going to get 10. Because that's what usually cops do in America is they get off pretty easily on that.
He did get off easy with 22 and a half years.
And I think he's going to get off an appeal.
Well, I hope to God that he doesn't, because he's a piece of shit and he intentionally murdered this person. And there's no two ways about it. And I don't care what you have to say about that.
The only thing I would have did differently out of this, and to be honest with you, is if he wouldn't have got out of the car, I probably would have tased him. That's all I probably would have did to get him out of the car was just tase him. Because sure. I've seen it firsthand on watching people pass out from chokeholds. I probably would have tased him. That's it. Or shot him. Okay. I mean, that's
a fairly reasonable thing to say. Is tasing him probably would have avoided this whole thing.
Probably.
I can't believe that you don't think that he was murdered.
I honestly don't. He put himself in a very bad situation. He committed federal crimes.
Do you think let's back it up. I've been pretty upset, and I'm sorry. I'd like to apologize.
No.
I lose my cool a little bit at times.
Don't apologize. Don't apologize to me. I don't give a fuck. Listen. Our arguments, I don't care. You got heated, and I love it. But here's the deal. Listen, I don't know the state's policies are on what crime is. I know in Canada, a federal crime is trying to pass counterfeit money. That's a federal crime. So that's automatically you're getting 5 years.
Is the punishment murder?
In the States, it probably is. No, not in Canada.
It's not.
Canada, you're probably 10. You're probably 10 to 15 years in Canada.
You don't get to murder someone for counterfeit money, and if you do, it's not the police officer's job. It's the police officer's job to arrest the person, take them to their day in court,
and due process happens.
Exactly.
As due process happened with him.
And I wouldn't say that automatically.
No, but I thought for sure he was going to get 10. I said I thought he was getting 10. He got 22.5. You thought he should have got life.
Yeah.
I still think he's getting off. I think he's getting off in appeal. Because
Let me ask you this. Do you think he intentionally killed this person?
No.
Why? And I want you to remember watching this video as he slowly dies. Not quickly, not accidentally. He didn't shove him and he accidentally fell and hit his head. And it was a situation where he slowly watched the life seep out of this person. He went unconscious and he continued. You've held a chokehold before. You've been a bouncer. If you hold it for like several minutes after and the person dies.
You ever been in a situation where you think you're gonna die? Or you ever been in a situation where people are yelling at you when you're trying to do something else? Like, so let me give you an example. I got punched in the stomach. I was just holding the door. I got punched in the stomach. Cops did it. Cops come down. This guy's all jacked up on something. I got this guy on the steps of Cecil's. The guy gets tasered.
Okay.
So the guy gets tasered once. He finally lets me go. Like, I'm red in the face. I want to kill this guy. Now, the cop is trying to arrest this guy. Well, everybody sees it and gathers around the cop and starts yelling at the cop. Starts yelling like, you're a fucking idiot. Why would you use your, because somebody thought it was a gun, but it was a taser, yelling at the cop. The cop, like, you don't even know what to do at that point. Now, this whole thing that's been on video, you get 7 or 8 people.
Okay, so let's roll back to your example. That's a different situation. That's where a cop was justified in using a taser. People decided to butt in, and they misinterpreted it. They thought it was a gun, and they decided to butt in, stick their nose in something that wasn't.
But then when I'm saying
that they thought.
No, exactly. But when I'm sitting down with the cop afterwards, because we got to write everything down, and it's 4 hours in the police station, and I'm talking to him about it, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" He's like, "Dude," he's like, what the fuck happened? Why were all those people around us and why were they all yelling at us? Like, I was trying to focus on this one job and then I was getting distracted. I'm not saying that the cop was distracted by people yelling. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that he doesn't seem that he's educated enough to become a police officer is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, he got Mickey Mouse training. Listen, if the guy's down and you got him handcuffed and you can't handle like a handcuffed suspect, you should not be a police officer. That's why I think you got Mickey Mouse training.
I think it's silly to blame the training. I don't think you need to be, like I said, a layperson standing there can see that he's killing him, let alone a person who is trained. I don't know the degree. I'm going to assume he's a trained professional, but one way or the other, a layperson is standing there saying, you're killing him. I can watch that. Everyone that saw that, except for you and him, could tell that he's killing this person. If he continues to do what he's doing, he's killing this person. A reasonable person is going to say, that's fucking murder.
What I can't figure out is why the fuck he didn't have him in handcuffs up and into the cop car quicker. That's what I can't figure out.
He's a murderer. He preferred to murder him.
He's uneducated. That's what I'm saying.
He's a murderer. He wanted to kill this person. He's a racist cop that had an opportunity to murder him. And there's some stories going around that they knew each other, didn't like him or something. One way or the other, it was murder.
Listen, you don't like, listen, I've had cops not like me for specific reasons. Like, listen, they've got me too, but like you can't, you got to treat everybody with respect. And I'm with you on that. Like I said, I'm with you for the most part. Like I said, I thought he was only going to get 10 and I thought he only got 10. Because my views of the situation are definitely different than yours.
Absolutely. Let me say this. Are you sympathetic to police officers? Like, you seem to want to always side with police officers.
I am pro police in most situations, yes.
Do you not think that when a person who makes police officers look bad does something this terrible, rather than lumping him in with all the police and saying they're all bad, shouldn't we make an example of him and say, that's what we don't want police officers to be? He's a bad police officer.
He's a bad cop.
He doesn't represent
I even said that. I even told you, I'm like, he's a bad cop. I can't figure out why he didn't have him on the ground. You want to pull him on the ground, put cuffs on him, back of your car, and then you could debrief everything you want to get for the story from the cop or the shop owner, the fake $100 bill, the drugs that he had in the car, the drugs he had in his system. You want to get all that done. Right away, you put him in cuffs for your own safety, right? And then you put him into the vehicle. Now that's how police should work. You know, sure. You see it all the time. You see, I'm detaining you just till I figure out the story. So I'm safe. I'll go figure the story out. If it's wrong, you're free to go and all this stuff, right? Now, what I didn't understand.
Wait. Let's stop here for a second, and then you can continue after that.
Yeah.
But I just want to revisit this. So, in the context that he doesn't represent police officers, that he is the exception, that he is a bad police officer, and there's plenty of good police officers. And you're saying, sure, you're questioning his procedure. It doesn't look like he's doing what a police officer would do. So correct. He can't represent police officers. Will you then say that he's a murderer and not a police officer. He's a bad person who managed to get a badge, but he doesn't represent other police officers. He is a bad person.
I will call him he definitely is a murderer, but
okay,
I believe that
thank you. That's all I wanted to hear.
Well, I never said he wasn't.
You said manslaughter.
No, but he did. But you could kill somebody, be a murderer, and still get manslaughter. I'm going by the law.
Manslaughter implies it wasn't intentional.
But I don't think. Now, this is where I'm getting at is I think that with everything adding up, like the drugs in his system, the illegal activity before, the 5 cops that were there, and a few of them not being white, and things to that nature. Them saying it was on his neck, then showing the video of him on his back or on his shoulder blade. And that's what I figured he was going to get 10 years, 10 and a half, 10 years, 10 to 12 years for. And then it was like 22 years. Now I'm like, okay. Now, when the Asian goes up and the Asian officer and the other one, I think it was the Asian officer, when he goes up, he should get 10 years. That's what I'm going to say right now.
I know that they have been charged, and I don't know. To be honest, I didn't bother to look into it, but I know that the officers who were complicit in this have had charges put on them, including the Asian officer, as you've called him.
Yeah, dude, I don't know his name. I'm sorry, man. I'm not trying to be racist. I'm just saying visible minority. Sure.
There was at least one other officer, I think, that was charged as well.
One more question for you. Did you watch him getting sentenced? Did you see the whole video? Did you see Did you see his statement at the end of it? That really surprised me.
Inform me. What was the statement at the end?
I don't want to put words in his mouth, but things will come out very soon about the Floyd family. I don't know. It was something of that nature, saying
his closing statements were to disparage the family of the victim he killed.
He said things are coming out.
That makes him an even bigger piece of shit.
No. So this is
yes. He murders the guy and then says disparaging things about his family after he's sentenced to murder.
This is what is surprising me is who the fuck is still talking to him?
What do you mean who's still talking to him?
Like, listen, man, like I'm not defending the guy. I'm just saying what I thought he should have got. What I thought he was going to get, because it's America, and that's what America does. Dude, who the hell is still talking to him on the force?
But you think he deserves a more harsh sentence. Never mind what America does. You think he murdered this person and deserves to go to jail for the rest of his life,
listen,
right? What do you think? Never mind, it's America.
What do I think?
Yes.
I don't think he's getting... Okay, let me just say this.
What do you think he deserves? Never mind what he's going to get. Never mind what America does. Do you think he deserves to spend the rest of his life behind bars?
15 to 20.
All right. I can't really... It's agree to disagree. I can't reason with you on this then.
What are you talking about? 15 to 20. You think he's going to make 10 years? Even if we get 5 years, you think he's going to make that?
Never mind what he's going to make. Do you think he deserves to spend the rest of his years behind bars?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good. I'm glad we agree then.
But so does George. Never mind. You know what? I'm not even going to troll you on this one. No, but I think that everybody else should do at least 10. That's there. If you're going to give him 22.5, everybody else gets 10. Jump in, boys.
I agree. They all deserve. They're all complicit. They're all complicit. They're all complicit.
Listen, I'm going to say this right now. If you're on if let's switch this up. If you're George Floyd and you're on the ground and I'm in the store with you and I come out and I see the cops doing that, yeah, I'm dying too, because I'm getting the cops off of you. If I think your life, and I use you as an example, is in danger, I am jumping every fucking cop to get in there, and I will end them. I mean, it's nonetheless, if I don't think you're doing it right, and I hope that somebody has it on and then they would call me a hero. But I honestly think that the whole situation could have been avoided if he wouldn't have tried to cash a fake $100 bill. And
the punishment for cashing counterfeit bills is 20 not years. Execution, though, right?
No, it's life in prison.
I don't know if it's life in prison. It's
for America,
probably a few years, but I don't know. Whatever. I'm not even going to argue whether it's life in prison. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't sound right. But it's not murder. It's not an execution for counterfeit.
Listen, calm down. Move on.
All right, let's move on. I'm sorry that I got heated, man. I don't mean to do this. Sometimes I'm not in control.
Would you stop fucking crying about it and move on? I don't care.
All right. Well, speaking, oh my God. How do you transition out of that? I'm sorry.
I don't know what story we're going into, so I can't do it for you. Sexy Beast?
No, I was going to save that for a little bit later. Let's do, fucking
Well, you
doing
got-
it again. For those that don't know, I have two laptops going. My laptop that I usually work has died. I know I said it a little bit, but I've managed to
Are
get
you
it
saying
up
that?
and
Are
going.
you saying that a cop killed your laptop? Are you saying that? Did you put your knee on that? Did you put your knee on that laptop? Do you need to be in prison?
So I normally have my laptop here and a second monitor here. Now I have my new laptop here, my old laptop over here, and my second monitor hooked up to my original laptop. So I'm doing this weird thing where I go to edit this like I normally do, and I'm touching my new laptop, like the buttons and keys, and it's not.
Why don't
doing
you
like,
just?
What's
Why don't
going
you just?
on? Oh, it's the other laptop.
Nobody
I'm a-
cares.
I'm
Move
a
on.
boomer. Okay. I'm a
Yeah.
boomer. I'm not technologically here. All right. So let's get into the next story is Britney Spears. The
Oh my God.
Free Britney movement has exploded in the last couple of weeks.
Let's hope. Let's hope you and I can agree on this one.
Well, Britney Spears for the past 13 years has been in a conservatorship, which basically means that she's not mentally fit to control herself. We all know that she had that weird mental lapse that was very public, where she shaved her head and bashed some cars in with a baseball bat and whatever. Ever since then, she's been under control of her father, and both there are two conservatorships: is her personally and her finances. And her father, Jamie Spears, was in charge of both until about 2019, where he fell out of health and wasn't able to do it. He still is in control of her finances. And since 2019, Jody Montgomery has been in temporary replacement for her personal, like her personally. And
Jody Montgomery.
Jody Montgomery, yes.
Who is it? Who is she? Is she just like a hired helper, or is she like a family member?
She's not a public figure. She's somebody. She's a professional that nobody. I don't know who she is. I don't know.
Okay, so but she's not like
I don't
an
have her.
aunt.
I don't
She's
have
not an
her.
aunt. Like no, but she's not an aunt or a family member of Britney Spears.
I don't have her her LinkedIn account right in front of me, but
You should.
So with that said, there's been this conspiracy theory by the Free Britney movement that she'll do TikTok video, or not TikTok, she'll do Twitter posts or social media posts where, hey guys, I love you guys, and they'll read into it and they'll say that there's this secret message that she's being exploited or whatever. And there's these stories of like Britney will get her hair done, and the person will be going like, they'll have their phone up and Britney will be like, oh, could I borrow your phone? And she'll get on the phone and start like frantically putting a message, and people will be like, whoa, you can't cut her. When you're cutting her hair, you're not allowed to let her touch a phone. She's not allowed that freedom. There's a lot of really crazy things. And for a while it was like, I don't know how much that's true, but now it's coming out that she has testified in court. That has been put on the internet, and she's confirming it herself.
Man, bro.
Yeah.
She's been around since fucking age of 5 or 6, I think, right? Disney.
Yeah,
she was was she Mickey Mouse Club? Her and JT and all the boys. Was it Mickey Mouse Club?
It was either her or Christina Aguilera. They were both there.
No, I think they were both.
Sure.
I think they were both there. Listen, man.
Sure.
Could you imagine having a camera on you from the age 5? You and I have cameras on us right now for an hour, 2 hours a day, 2 hours a week, because we want to do, because we enjoy it for the most part. Last segment avoided, but we've enjoyed our company together. Do you imagine at the age of 5 being a cute kid, taking my kid, who's I think is a good looking kid, some people say he's cute, putting him in front of a camera, and then growing up in front of a camera, and then always having somebody to tell you what you can and cannot do. Now, I believe Britney snapped when she was 20, 22, 23.
She's probably a little bit older than that.
Because she's our age, right?
She's similar age of us, and it was about 13 years ago. So she was probably closer to 25-ish, maybe.
Okay, so she had already done 20 years in front of a camera. That is the average work life for most people. 20 years at a job. Usually you're getting a gold
it's normally
watch.
30.
Well, now it is, but like, let's say 30. She's at 30. It's time for Britney to retire. Like Britney's past 30. She's gone through mental health issues because she hasn't been able to grow. Now, imagine somebody telling you all the time what you can and cannot do. You'd snap. You'd go crazy. Now, the Britney conservatorship, it mentally is, she doesn't seem well then. If you're telling me that she needs conservatorship, then she should be in the hospital seeking help.
Well, she is. But like this is another thing it's getting into a very gray area because I have internet friends who have had some mental health issues, and when like they do these live streams and when they're off, like
You
when
can
they're
tell.
having, yeah,
You
they're
can
doing
tell.
some pretty out there stuff, and they have people who take care of them. Their mother takes care of them, and it is absolutely necessary. Like I've seen it. I've seen that there are times when this is absolutely necessary. You need somebody to take care of you, to make sure you're taking care of yourself. Absolutely, to be there for a lot of your life. However, there's a lot of people that are saying this shouldn't last 13 years. She should have control of her body. She's being forced to take lithium, which she does not want to take against her fucking will. She wants to have a baby with her boyfriend, and they're saying she has to have an IUD that she's not allowed to remove.
Okay,
What?
so what people for some I don't understand how I haven't heard about this lately is that K-Fed got her pregnant with two kids. They had two kids. Brittany doesn't have control of those children. K-Fed does. K-Fed gets like $60,000, $70,000 a month for child
Wow.
support, spousal support, and things to that nature. What my thing is that if Brittany is mentally that wrong, we
Mhm.
need to get Brittany doctor help. We don't need internet help. We don't need Dr. Phil and
Well,
Dr. Drew.
but
We need medical facility for Brittany.
well, she does have the conservatorship is making sure that she has the help that she needs. However, even visits to therapy are done in places where paparazzi will see her come out, and she's crying sometimes, and they get pictures of her crying, and
Yeah, dude, but that's so fucked.
mhm.
Could you imagine trying to get help for whatever your mental problem would be? Like
Mhm.
whatever you need help with mentally, and all of a sudden, like there's cameras. The minute you walk out and you thought you had a great session and you've cried and you're working on things, you come out and then there's pictures being taken of you, and all of a sudden now, what the hell are you gonna do? You need to take Brittany to like Switzerland, to anywhere in the world where the paparazzi aren't going to be. Hire her the biggest bodyguards. Anybody
Mhm.
comes near, just shoot. And let Brittany, no, but seriously, we got to give her time to relax. Like, listen, if we don't see Britney Spears for 20 more years, and that puts her at 60, and she comes out for a Hit Me Baby One More Time reunion tour, a tour, and I'm in.
John Mark will be the first one to get tickets. I always forget
damn
that
right.
we have an expert on the show on Britney Spears here. I always
I am
forget
a
about
huge
that.
Britney fan. I really am a huge Britney fan, believe it or not.
It's surprising. You're this tough. Probably the toughest man I know is a huge Britney Spears fan.
I actually no, because I honestly appreciate her art form, and I
Her
honestly
art form.
no, but, yeah,
Her
art
art
form.
form.
No, but I appreciate her as
Her artistic endeavors.
I appreciate her artistic endeavors. No,
Hit me, baby, one more time. Nothing speaks to my soul quite like that.
Oops, I did it again.
Oops, I did it again. Oh, and the Coca-Cola or the Pepsi. It's funny because we did a story a couple of weeks.
My generation, yes.
We did a story a couple of weeks back, and I didn't really think about it, but I was like, Sean Mark knew a lot more about that than I did, because we were talking about Britney's love of Pepsi versus Coke, and you're like, oh, didn't she have a song on her album dedicated to Pepsi, and she did a music video? And I was like, oh, I thought she just did a couple commercials. Like, no, she had a song on her album called My Generation. And
no, and I'm
very informed on Britney.
I'm a huge Britney fan. I can't even hide it anymore. That's unfortunate. No, but to be honest, though,
I do want to say though, it is odd though when you look at the evolution of social media, because Britney Spears famously started out on the cusp of that opening up of the world, and there was a moment or two where it was like you felt bad for her because she had to navigate these waters where she clearly didn't have a blueprint to follow, where she was not prepared to be in that situation. Nobody knows what it's like to have these paparazzis all over, and there's the cameras all over MySpace, Twitter, these things. But then 13 years ago, she went absolutely dark. And it's strange because you hear from celebrities all the time, but there's just this giant gap where you haven't heard from Britney Spears for 13 years. And that's because she's been Go ahead.
No, but I've heard of her. Right. Okay. So like, just because you haven't heard of her,
but you don't hear her speaking out on issues or giving her opinions on things quite like other people do.
How long was she in Vegas for? I think she's been 10 years now in Vegas.
Yeah, that's part of where they want her performing. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So she has her home life in Vegas, right? So I mean, and you keep her down because she's releasing these albums and she's on tour. So when she's in Germany, TMZ's not sending guys to Germany and stuff. But my question to you, Adam, and if you want to continue on to your point, is do we have to put a cap on what people have? Because it seems that the bigger the pop star, the harder they're falling. Like, and I'm going to use Michael Jackson as an example. Jackson 5, he kind of came up. He was really screwed up. We got Britney. We got Demi Lovato. The list goes on and on and on about these child stars that are just stay in the limelight too much. Amanda Bynes is another one. Stays in the line in the light too long and then starts to crash. Same with Bieber. Bieber went a little sideways. He's not too bad, but he went a little sideways. Like, is there a specific time when we should not allow either? Do we not allow them to be under the age of 16 to be pop stars? Or do we say if you're under the age of 17 or 18, you can only be on stage for an hour, you'll be in front of a camera for so long?
Okay, so you're getting into some interesting waters here, and I'd like to navigate some of that. There is a bit of an uncomfortable conversation about if you're underage and your parents are forcing you to, I mean, they're not forcing you. She probably enjoyed it. But if you're working in the limelight underage, we need to have some restrictions on that. And for the most part, I think that there have been some restrictions on what you're legally allowed to do. Like, children can't perform acting for more hours than a certain amount and things like that.
And you look at us when we were kids, like the Olsen twins, I use those as an example. Like, there was only one on the show, but there was two of them. Right, because they would switch.
Yeah, and then that's a smart way to circumvent these limitations, right? To work around them. Where this conversation gets interesting is, sure, she may have been exploited as a child to become a child star, but where the conversation gets really eerie is she's claiming she's being exploited now, because she's also said in this testimony that she is forced to work 10 hours every single day, 7 days a week. She does not get a day off. She is not even allowed to have children because that would mess up her career. She would like to have a child with her boyfriend. She wants to have children. She's a 38, 40-year-old woman, wants to have children. She said, and I quote, "I deserve to take 2 or 3 years off to myself." And she's not allowed to do that. So one thing
absolutely, but
we can go back and forth about, is it exploitation to force her to work as a child star? We can go back and forth on that, but it's pretty black and white on this one, that as an adult, she doesn't even have the choice to have a couple years off, to have a baby, you know what I mean?
Listen, if I pay, and all of the things that people don't understand about Hollywood is, if I'm paying you to be in the Vegas Strip, I'm paying you on a 10-year deal, you're probably getting an advance on that money.
But this has nothing to do with that. This is the conservatorship that's forcing her to do this. She doesn't have the right to say no because other people are in charge of her personally.
But if there's contractual obligation,
it's not a contractual obligation, though. It's not a contractual obligation. It's the conservatorship.
Okay, so if she's under nothing, like if she doesn't got to do 2 more years in Vegas, she doesn't got to do this fucking tour, this tour, but the conservativeship's like, no, you got to continue to work because we need the money.
Exactly.
There's something wrong with that.
Yeah.
But as long as if she signed any type of contract,
she's not in the conversation. She doesn't even have the ability to get her nails done. She's not allowed to make financial decisions one way or the other. And her family is forcing her to work 10 hours every day. And they're in control of her financial situation. They're in control of her estate, and they're in control of her personally. And these conservatorships, generally they're for a short period. Someone will have a mental breakdown and they need somebody to take control of them
so what the fuck? What are we missing from Britney's last fuck up with K-Fed? That's what it seems to me like. What are we missing? Was her dad that much of a dick? Like I've heard stories about her dad. I've heard stories that her dad and Jessica, I think it was Jessica Simpson's dad, real horrible human beings. Why are we not looking into the father here? What the hell's going on? What am I missing?
Well, I think that the Free Britney movement has been saying that he has been exploiting this, that there was a legitimate mental break in Britney Spears, but there's no debate about that. We all know she had a mental break.
Yeah.
There was an opportunity for her to enter into a conservatorship, and she needed
And it's
to.
been that long, eh?
And for 13 years, she's been in it. Somebody has controlled her. Her exact words was that, I'm just trying to find the exact quote here. It was that the only other industry that is like this is the sex trade industry, because she doesn't have control over her body. She doesn't have control over when she works. These are all decisions that are made for her, and she doesn't even get the money out of it. That goes to the estate, which is run by her father.
But listen, they never have. I want you to think back to when we were a kid, like 17.
What do you mean they never have?
Britney Spears has never had control over her body.
You don't think what? Sorry, what? They don't have control.
Britney Spears has never had control of her own body. I guarantee that.
How do you figure a grown adult is not allowed to control their own body? That's a no.
She hasn't had control. I believe she should have control.
Why?
The conservatorship. Her parents are
that only
crazy.
Started 13 years ago, though.
Oh, that's way before. The conservatorship is 13 years ago. I guarantee her parents.
It only started 13 years ago.
No, what I'm saying to you is, can I fucking finish, or do you want me to drive to North Bay and punch in the mouth?
Well, you're saying things that are wrong. I need to correct you when you're wrong.
No, listen to me one more time. The conservatorship started 13 years ago. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
I guarantee before that, she never had control of her body. She had to look a specific way. It does make sense if you know the business. She had to look a specific way.
So her father told her that she had to look a specific way, and she didn't decide for herself?
Absolutely. Go back and look.
Do you have any evidence that you can support this?
Yes. Go look at her sister.
She's been in slavery her entire life?
Basically.
Okay.
Go look at her sister. Go look at her sister, Jamie Lynn, when she had a baby, when I believe Jamie Lynn was 16, 17. Try and find an interview with her father and what her father said. It's the same with all these pop stars. They're told what they have to do. Britney Spears needs to be free. She needs to do her own thing.
If she wanted to take a day off, she could, though, right?
No, she should have to.
Oh, she's never been able to take a day off. This is all news to me. It's even the Free Britney Spears people aren't saying this stuff.
No, what I'm saying is she's never really had control from the age of 5 up.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying is these poor kids don't have control. It happens to every child, and then they break down, and now they're in a conservatorship for 13 years, which for me, for maybe about a year there, was Britney a little bit off. If I'm not mistaken, a year, shaved her head, grew it back. That's it. Now, I believe an accountant's running her money, saying, hey, Britney, you got to pump the brakes on the spending. But the conservatorship, I don't believe should even have existed for longer than 6 months. Once you get her help, get her back going, go do what you got to do.
Yeah, well, like I said.
What I'm saying is that when they're kids, I guarantee she didn't have control over her body when she was a kid.
Well, when she was a kid, I mean, she had some control over her body, I'm sure, but
body imaging that.
Go on, sorry.
Go ahead. No, I'm saying the way that they have to look, they didn't have control. She couldn't decide that she wanted to be overweight. She didn't, you know what I mean? She couldn't indulge in all these different things that you and I would indulge in and gain weight. She had to look a specific way contractually, or else she wasn't getting paid. So what I'm saying is she's probably never had control over the way she's going to look for her body. Except when she shaved her head. I think you're missing the point of what Hollywood's really about, but I think we're okay. This show is really going to.
I don't know, man. I don't know. You're kind of going off on a different tangent, but
no. What I'm saying to you is the conservatorship shouldn't have lasted as long as it has. You and I are on agreement on that. But what I'm saying is, before the conservatorship, I guarantee Britney still didn't have control over her body.
Even she wasn't allowed to decide what pills she could take.
I guarantee it, dude. She's always been under contract.
It seems like a strange contract
for companies like Disney.
They get to tell her to take lithium if they want.
Okay, the Free Britney movement is from the conservatorship on. I'm saying before that.
That's where she lost control of her body, is what I'm saying. Is that 13 years ago, when she went off the deep end, she has lost control of her rights. They have the right to tell her how to live her life, when she has to work, what she has to do.
Which is unacceptable.
She had the freedom to do whatever she wanted.
Well, I don't think she did, though, because I believe when she was contractually
but nobody else is saying that. Nobody else is saying that she didn't have the freedom to do what she wanted.
So are we on the Okay, so we'll just talk about Brittany. We won't talk about anything else. We'll talk about from conservatorship on.
No, we can talk about whatever. Like I just
No, but what I'm saying to you is that like when she was doing the hit me baby one more time and all that stuff leading up to the conservatorship, she had to look a specific way.
yeah, but she had the choice to like she could.
Yeah, and if she didn't want to, she was in breach of contract. And if she did that, then she would just have been fired, which for me now probably would have been better for her not to hit the images that everybody else gave her.
I haven't really seen
If you're not,
Britney Spears' contract. I don't know how you're privy to that information.
are you not watching the HBO specials and the specials like that?
What HBO specials?
Is there not one on? Is there not one on Crave that I'm watching? Is there not everything I'm reading online talking about Britney?
I don't know, man.
Okay. Next week I will bring signed documents and things to that nature. I guess on things I watch and read.
All right, man. Well, all I'm saying is that there was.
But we're on the same page. Allow Britney Spears to do what Britney wants to do.
Yeah, man.
We're on the same page on that. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't understand what. Okay.
Yeah, man. Well, what I'm saying is that she should be able to get out of this conservatorship and be able to control her body. But you're saying even if she gets out of it, she won't have any control over her body.
No. I said before the conservatorship, I don't think she didn't have a choice in her body type. It had to be one specific way contractually obligated. What I'm saying now is whatever Britney wants to do, Britney should do.
Yeah, but she doesn't have the right to do that because of there are people in control of her life. So anyway, man, I think this is kind of falling off the rails.
It is. Let's continue on. Instead of Britney Spears, let's go on to this other show you want to talk about.
All right, what do we got? Let's see here. You want to talk about John McAfee?
This is one I can honestly say I'm a little educated on, but I'm not fully educated on.
Okay.
Let's go on with John. I think we're all going to be on the same page. I hope on this one. We'll try one more time. Continue on, my friend.
So John McAfee, say it again. How do you say his name? McAfee?
I want to say I thought it was McAfee. I thought it was.
I've always said McAfee but I've heard everyone say
the internet.
McAfee, but it's the guy that invented McAfee viral protection, which I've always called McAfee viral protection. I don't know, man.
Yeah, whatever. We're talking about the guy, the antivirus guy for the
guy
computer,
that made the
correct?
antivirus for your computer that would pop up and say, "Hey, for $30
back in Windows 95,
you can get another month of protection or whatever, 2 years of protection for this great deal." That would pop up without.
And then at the end. And you wouldn't turn your computer on for 3 months after the trial. You turn it on and say there's 17 more viruses, but for $9.99 we can get rid of those 17 free viruses. Yes,
exactly. He invented that. However, he did not take part in the success. He sold it apparently in like 1995. With that said, he has lived one of these crazy lives, and he lived to be about 75 years old. Was in a jail in Spain for, I don't know what he was in the jail in Spain for, but he was going to be extradited to the United States for tax evasion. And he has been found dead, presumably of suicide.
But he said he would never commit suicide.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing is
on this one.
Yeah, he said he's got a tattoo. If I suicide myself, oh, he's got a tweet that says, "If I suicide myself, I didn't. I was whacked. Check my right arm," and he's got a tattoo that says "whacked" on it. So he's saying, if you ever think I'm suicidal, I'm not. Somebody else killed me.
Did he have information on the Clintons? Did he have information on the Clintons or anything? Was he tied in with Epstein?
Well, that's the thing is, I don't understand why he would get murdered. I mean, there's a few
over tax evasion. Listen, if he's over for tax evasion, I want him quick and I don't want him to commit suicide. I don't want to kill him because I want that money back.
Yeah. Well, there is a bit of a thing that he's been putting out there is that he had like 300 terabytes of information that if he's ever found dead would be released and is going to be out in the wild. He was also trading in cryptocurrency. He said that he's made over actually $13 million, mostly from cryptocurrency. But he said that 3 years ago, I predicted that a war between the government and cryptocurrency, that war has come true. And I'm guessing he was wanted dead. I don't know. I guess that I'm not sure why the government wanted him dead. I don't totally understand that one.
Yeah, what the who does he have information on? That's my key. That's my
Mhm.
question. So that those terabytes of information, A, did he get those through that stupid little antivirus? Was he like, hey, we'll scan all your files and we're gonna keep them?
Oh yeah, exactly. You turn your antivirus on and it tells everybody the weird porn you've been
Well,
searching.
no, but it basically goes through and searches all your files, right? So if you go,
Yeah.
well, I better run the antivirus. So then it just backgrounds all that. So
Yeah.
like when you get it and it's like, oh, it's Bill Clinton's computer. You're like, all right, if I could put the Trojan horse in there and let's get all the information back and
Yeah.
we'll scan. We don't need a Trojan horse because we are the Trojan horse and we're just going to
Yeah.
take all the information.
Yeah, exactly.
Or has he pissed off enough people maybe in certain dark areas that we don't talk about? That's like, no, we need that fucking you fucked us bad. We need this. Like, there's no reason for a guy that says he's not going to commit suicide to commit suicide.
Yeah, it's a strange. Well, I understand. I actually, to be honest, even though he has this tattoo that says "If I kill myself, I didn't do it," yada yada yada, I can understand why at 75 years old he might, like, he's getting extradited to the United States. He's going to live. It would be a 30-year sentence for tax evasion. He was avoiding taxes for political reasons from 2014 until 2018. I can understand that this could be his last opportunity to kill himself before he lives this miserable 30 years or whatever in jail that he doesn't want to do. So this is an opportunity for him to take some control over the end of his life. Possible. But you got to question it because it also says, I didn't kill myself. I have a fucking tattoo on my arm that says it didn't happen, you know?
But now I want to know what's on those terabytes of info.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. I do have a feeling that information is going to come out in the next few weeks. Another interesting point that I don't know if it ties into him being murdered or it could be a motivation, but he's wanted in connection with a murder in Belize. His neighbor, when he lived in Belize, his neighbor poisoned his dogs and was found dead a few days later, murdered clearly. And John McAfee ran the fuck out of the country, went to Spain.
Okay. Now, I don't want to talk about murdering somebody because you and I got heated last time. If you want me to kill you, attack one of my family members or my fucking dog. I'll go John Wick on your ass like you have no fucking idea. But if John Wick can do it, I mean, why can't I, right? So, yeah. So you're telling me that the guy that just poisoned his dog killed him? I don't know. He's already dead.
That's the thing is, you do wonder if perhaps there's somebody that could have gotten back at him, but I don't think that. I mean, I don't know. Those are pretty fucking long reaches.
We need to find out what's on these hard drives.
Yeah, we do. I have a feeling that information will be out. We'll have to see. With that said, do you think that he killed himself, or do you think that it was suicide?
If I look at it from a different view, if I look at it from the outside and I say somebody says to me, I have 3 terabytes of information, I'm not going to kill myself.
It was it was more than 3 terabytes. It was like, I believe it was like 300 terabytes. It was a large amount.
I got a server full of information. Let's call it a server full of information. I'm not going to kill myself. And then the people that you figure were going to help you out to get out of prison said, no, you know what? That information, it's not getting out now. We already have it. I then kill myself and say, well, go find that information. He goes, well, he's got to have it. Mm-hmm. So they go and find it. But I don't think he did. He could have. I don't know. They don't have cameras on this fucker?
Yeah. Well, he had a cellmate that was not there when that happened. He was doing other things, doing other jail things, I guess. And then he killed himself while he was gone. It's an interesting parallels between him and Pedophile Island guy.
Yeah, but there is some. Is there any crossbreeding at all in that, or cross-sectioning at all in those two?
I'm not sure if they've ever.
Oh, you don't know? Okay, I just figured that all these guys who, once you make over $500 million in the bank, you just all kind of know because there's a small group of you. You all kind of just know each other. That's what I just figured.
I don't know, maybe.
And it's got to be American, right? So I got to figure that they've got some type of tie in them. But I don't know, man. I don't think he killed himself. Do you think he killed himself?
Honestly, even though he's got this tattoo that says, if I suicide myself, I didn't do it. I kind of think he did. I think that this is a 75-year-old man. He seems to have lived this wild life, running from the law. He invented this product that everybody's had, running from the law, made millions of dollars in cryptocurrency. If you piss him off and kill his dog, he kills you, had to run from the law, live this crazy lifestyle. Now he's looking at it winding down. He apparently had a lot of freedoms in Spain. Now he's looking at a harsher, more constricted life in an American jail. I think that he said, if I'm going to get out, this is my way out.
This is the time. This is the time. Yep.
I think he took his life at 75 years old.
Hey, man, works for me, man. Hey, you know what? At 75, if you want to live your extravagant lifestyle and you've ripped off the government a few $1 million like the Catholic Church, hey, want to end it? That's all me. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Good for him.
Good for
I just want to know what's on. I just want to know what's on those. I just want to know what's on those. All that data.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I want him to say that it was from the antivirus that sucked all the information off all these computers.
Could you imagine?
That's all I'm asking.
That would
just kill the other company. That would kill the company.
All right, so I got a fun story before we get into the Loki review.
About fucking time.
So I sent you a trailer before the show. Did you watch the trailer for Netflix's
I did. Yes, I've seen the trailer. Yes.
The new dating show, reality show. I don't know how reality based it is. It's called Sexy Beast. This trailer is wild. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you check it out. It's basically a show where people get dressed up in these crazy costumes. You don't see their faces, and they go out.
Well, you do, but they're covered in different things. Like you can see,
like there's one person that's like
whatever.
There's one person that's like a devil face, and there's another that's got like a dolphin face, and there's like they're furries, and they go out, and the idea is you sort of conceal the person you're dating with, and they go out on these dating apps. It looks like when people have like filters on their camera and they change their face to like a cat, and then they talk and it lines up with them. But this is actual makeup. They get hours of makeup done before the show. They go out on dates, they go bowling, they go get dinner. Some of them even kiss each other with this, I don't even know, they've got a mask over their face, but they're kissing and dating. And then at the end, somebody chooses who they're going to end up with, and they reveal who they are. What do you think of this show?
What do you think?
I think it's wild.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think that this show might be on to something. Now, I don't know. Do you see the body parts? Like, does this guy got a six pack or pecs, or are they all pretty much suited up?
It looks go ahead.
Because the problem is like people say they get catfished all the time. You know what I mean? But if you get to talk to the person and you fall in love with that person,
mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a different way. You're out with the person, so you're actually interacting with them. So you kind of know, and at the end of the show, you go, "Hey, yeah, I like this guy," and then shows up, and he looks like, I don't know, somebody that you wouldn't expect. You go, "Oh,
yeah, this guy's ugly." Yeah,
and you can't do that on live TV because you'll never get a date again.
Well, it's interesting. It's a wild, like it's ridiculous. It almost looks like it's I don't know. It's like a weird.
It's so ridiculous. It's probably going to work.
Yeah.
Every other dating show that comes up, like people always go, "Oh, it's crazy. It's never going to work." Like think of the first time The Bachelor happened. We're going to put one good-looking guy. He's going to be an NFL quarterback, and 30 women are going to start off in a mansion, and we're going to fly him all over the world, and he's going to give roses, and they're all going to leave, and that's what film's going to be. How fucking stupid are you?
Let me ask you this. Before you decide you're going to settle down with someone, you want to usually go on a test drive. So if you're on this show and you've got to pick a winner, you're going to want to test out.
Test drive. Test out. Hey,
so
of course.
You got to have like a guy with a panda face having sex with the girl with a dolphin fin on her head. And that's going to be some interesting sex that's happening.
Fuck, isn't that true love?
Yeah.
Like there's nothing else that could get dirtier after that.
You gotta fuck a panda to find your true love.
Oh, that'd be awesome. They're complete opposites. Like just something crazy. You're like, oh, a cat and a fish. Yeah, because they'd get along, something dumb like that. I think that'd be a good idea.
So let me ask you this to go a little further. Let's say they got to hook up. They're trying to find out which one of these people they like. They hook up. They got all these fucking fish face, devil face, whatever. And then they fucking take off the mask and whatever. And they're like, you know what? Kind of feeling the dolphin. You think you could put the dolphin mask on again for tonight?
Straight up, just, you know what? I'm not working it tonight. I fell in love with the dolphin.
But what if you find something?
You know what?
Inside, maybe you don't find true love, but you do find inside of yourself that you're a bit of a furry.
I think you'd have to be at that point to even be on that show, right?
Well,
like you'd have to be on that show.
My understanding is none of these people are furries. They're just regular people who want to find true love, and the circumstances that you're not allowed to judge on their looks, so they conceal it with these strange costumes. And what if during that journey you find you're into it? You're into that. You go, you know what? I am a furry.
Then, hey, man, you know what? Then that's opening up your mind, kids. That's something you should do.
I want to fuck a fish. I want to fuck the devil. I want to fuck a panda. What if the other person's not into it?
Yeah.
What if they're going, that was just for the show? I don't want to wear this panda stuff every time we're going to hook up.
Then it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
I guess so.
But like the same thing, like the thing with me is that like another thing too is like you're forced to find love. I don't think that works. Or like the Bachelor and Bachelorettes never work out. So they're like, hey, I want to go to the show and find love. You're not gonna find love because you're looking for it. I think maybe I'm a hopeless romantic.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't. It'd probably be good for maybe a season or two. But I think after that, I think the novelty will wear off.
Are you gonna watch it?
Yeah, I'll watch it. I'll give an episode.
Watch it. You know what?
What's an hour? What's an hour?
I was gonna say I'm probably not gonna watch it, but you know what? When you say I'll give it an episode,
I'll give it an episode. Hey, why not?
I'll watch one episode, and if it's too strange for me,
Dude, what if you watch episode 1, I watch episode 2, and then I say episode 2 is amazing, and you're like, episode 1 sucked. I'll go watch episode 1, maybe you watch episode 2.
Yeah, I don't know. I
don't know, man. I'm in for it. I'll give it a.
I'll give
it a go. Only one though. Like,
yeah,
one episode. That's it.
I'll give it one episode. If it sucks, I'm not following down this rabbit hole.
Oh yeah, no, neither am I. And I'll watch the little clips on Facebook or on TikTok or whatever.
And speaking of one episode,
fucking Loki.
We got one episode of Loki to review here. Did you see Loki episode 3?
I did. I'm so done with the right wing and the left wing.
Right wing and left wing. What are you getting at? Right wing and left wing. I didn't see the.
I
think I know what you're getting at.
So when people, and we've talked about this, and I send you, we send voice notes to each other. I sent you the one because I'm done following IGN as well as I think it was GameSpot. I'm done with those guys as well. They came out and said, and they baited me the other night. And they said that Loki was blender or gender fluid. And I was all mad. And I went to click on it. And I said last time, I said, no, of course he is. Yeah. They said he was bisexual.
Yeah.
So he
says this is the big revelation in this episode is they have a conversation where they're starting. It's interesting. It's a very exposition heavy episode. And they start getting into like the variations in their lifestyle. And they start talking about, you're a Loki, I'm a Loki. Although she specifies, don't call me Loki. I don't like that. And then you probably got some girls back home, or maybe some princesses or princes. And he's like, yeah, a little of both, actually, a little of both.
Okay, dude, literally they're on a train. I'll ruin it. He's on a train. He's sitting in a booth with an attractive woman who's a Loki and he's a Loki. So we're starting to learn like different things about these Lokis, let's call them, right?
Sure.
And she's like, you must have had a lot of parties.
Princesses in the
princesses or princes, and he's half in the bag because the next minute he's juiced. He goes, yeah, a little bit of both, and then.
Which, by the way, did you get the callback where he throws it down and he goes more?
Yes, there was actually quite a few that I seen in that movie.
Yeah.
So I was like, because if you remember in the Thor movies, he talks about like these parties they would have. Mm-hmm. And you're like, yeah, dude, all they do is get shit-faced and have parties like Greek gods. And you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, that totally like.
Have orgies is what you're getting at.
Yes, sir.
But nobody really expected the orgies to be. Hey, man.
Who am I to judge a god?
I'm not judging either. I think it's cool. You know, it's I don't know. Do you think it was put in there to troll the right wingers who were upset about the gender fluid stuff?
Absolutely. Yeah. And once I seen it, like I was just like, yeah, all right, okay, now let's progress the story here because I want to know what the fuck's going on. So that's what I was expecting. Like I was like, I was expecting more than that. Like I was expecting like him and a Loki to sleep together and then the Loki come out as Loki and him not even stop.
You're saying that you're expecting the female Loki and the male Loki, who, by the way, they've given the female Loki a name as Sylvie now.
Yep.
You were expecting Sylvie and Loki to have sex. And it did seem like there was a bit of sexual tension during that specific scene where they're talking about you probably get a girl back home or maybe a guy, a little bit of both. And so let me ask you this. If they fuck each other, is that masturbation? Is that incest?
Well, that's I'm confused. Like, so if they sleep with each other, it's technically they're twins. So, but no, technically
they're the same person.
It's masturbating, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it'd be interesting. And then if they have a child together, is that inbred? Like, how's their DNA gonna combine together? Are they gonna have a weird extra ear here? And I don't know. I don't
half
even
a
really
horn. I don't know. Half a horn. I don't know.
I don't even really want to think about it. I do want to say, though, circle back to this, is I thought it was interesting writing. One of the few things on this episode, because I do have to say that some of the writing I was a little bit unhappy with, but that specific thing I thought was good writing, because we're getting into nature versus nurture here. They're two of the same people, but they're revealing, did you know your mother? I didn't know my mother. Did you know you were adopted? And she does a clever thing where she says, oh, I knew my mother. And she's like, did you really? Because she knew he was adopted before seeing if he knew he was adopted and whatever. So we've established they have different pasts. But then she says, well, do you have a girl or a guy back home? Because she bisexual herself and he is bisexual. So there are things that are different about their past, but there are personality traits that they have in common.
So what they need, what Marvel needs to learn, is in that one scene within 5 feet of each other, sitting around a table, sitting around a booth, they had some of the best dialogue I've seen out of the Marvel universe. And it's exactly what you said, was they knew but they didn't know, so they were kind of playing on each other because you knew they're both Lokis. I thought that scene was amazing. Getting to it was a little bit dodgy, and then after it, I'm like, come on. God damn, we got to move this story along. Like, is this gonna be a 40 episode season? Well, we're gonna start moving shit along here.
I will answer your question. There is only 6 episodes in this season, so we're halfway through already. With that said, I found it was a very exposition heavy episode. A lot of explaining things. Like, we know the TVA are now all variants of they're all variants who were forced to sort of work there.
And they don't know that they're variants.
They don't know that they're variants. These were all just sort of exposition that was put in throughout the episode that had nothing to do with the episode. It was just, let's do something cool while we talk about things that we need to catch the audience up on in this episode. That's how I felt this episode was. There was, you said the dialogue was really good in that one specific scene. I'm going to say some of the dialogue was not great. I was really annoyed every time the Sylvie character, she goes, don't call me Loki. My name's not Loki. I'm not a Loki. I hate that you call me Loki. It just was like, come on. Okay. Like, it was a little cringy, I found.
No, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. There were certain things that I enjoyed about Loki's character before, like when he turned into the guard that was carrying him onto the train and didn't have the ticket. So he said, let me do this. And she's like, that's not going to work. I'm like, but it always has before. But what I really appreciated was them kind of walking it through. They said, like, explaining things before. As I even told you before, like, if they go one more different way on this, like, you're going to lose so many people. Mm-hmm. I think they were like, yeah, we gotta have an episode to explain.
Well, it's interesting you should say that, because I did want to point out that this is getting into some waters that I really enjoy, because to me, this show is like almost a fucking reboot of a show that I used to watch as a kid that I love. It's like a remake of Sliders.
I know.
Oh. It is like, it's absolutely a remake of Sliders. They got their little remote. It opens up a portal to a parallel universe that is somehow different. And there's going to be certain staples in every episode. I mean, if they did 100 episodes like this, they'd come into a situation, the world's about to end. They got to save it. This is what Sliders was. They didn't have that plot device that the world was going to end in every episode that they built into this. But they always had some big problem that the Sliders characters had to fix. They'd slide into a parallel universe, and it was a parallel universe, the exact same thing here. in this, they have the built-in thing that it's an apocalypse every time, and their little doohickey doesn't work. They can't get their doohickey to work. That's like straight out of Sliders. Oh, it doesn't work. We gotta, we're here until we can sort this out. Die of the thing that's the comet that's coming towards the Earth or whatever. And it's a Sliders remake, right? Like it's Sliders. It's Loki in a Sliders episode.
Wow. So I forgot you were that much of a geek about Sliders.
Yeah, I was a big fan of
Sliders. Wow. Yeah, no, dude, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. So you know what? I'm no longer going to watch Loki. You've sold me. I'm going to go back and watch Sliders.
There you go.
What's the sense now? I've already seen it.
I will say though, I think I love
Sliders. Was better?
No, I love Sliders, but I think Loki was a little bit more well done. They've put certain moving parts in there to make it like Sliders felt like they were sort of making it up as they were going, trying to play catch up and fix like putting moving parts in and out and whatever, and trying to improve the show. It was a work in progress. Whereas Loki feels very much like every episode was put here, like the apocalypse. They have to slide into an apocalypse. They have these divergent timelines. All these things were put in place to specifically build a scenario where they're going in and out of parallel universes and they have a problem that they have to fix. And they have this little remote. They even, like, I remember in later episodes that Quinn Mallory is the main character, Jerry O'Connell. He had like another version of him that was coming along with him that was a female version of him, if I remember. It's been 20 years, but I seem to recall that too.
I think so, yeah.
A lot of parallels to Sliders. It was almost like, hey man, let's make a MCU version of Sliders, but it's only 6 episodes long, so they're not going to get too far down the rabbit hole. I think they're going to say what they want to say and get out in 6 episodes. That's really cool.
And I'm excited to see where it goes. Like I said, I'll give it 1 season, and I don't know like what I'm going to watch after. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hope they end it right, but I don't know like how long do I have to wait for season 2? Well, that's the issue.
I have a feeling that, and I don't know because there's only 6 episodes, but I have a feeling that this might end in a multiverse of madness that Doctor Strange has got to sort out, because that's coming up and it seems like the right path that they're going, right?
Well, I think Ant-Man's coming, right?
Yeah, Ant-Man. Is he? I thought the next one was Multiverse Madness, but I could be wrong. Well, I don't really know. But
they're in the quantum realm, and that's where Ant-Man was for so long. So I just
assume that. No, they're not in the quantum realm, I don't think.
No, they believe from the first one that the guys in the TVA are in the quantum realm because the time doesn't affect the same way as it does on Earth. So what they're saying is that Ant-Man may be kicking around somewhere in there as well.
Oh, that's interesting.
The little JM side note that I believe that the TVA is in the quantum realm because the quantum realm time doesn't work like it did for for Ant-Man when he ended up coming back on Endgame and was like, no, I was in the quantum realm for 5 minutes.
Oh, so is this your theory or is this something you read on the internet?
I kind of seen a little bit of it, but then I was like, yeah, you know what? That makes sense because the TVA time does not make sense in the TVA.
It's an interesting theory. So what did you think about this episode? I do want to say that I thought it was very beautifully shot. Some of the things are a little bit funny, like when Loki puts on the uniform of the guy. It's like, that's a blue wool sweater. It's their army uniform. It was funny.
So you thought it was beautifully shot.
Do you have
a 4K TV?
No.
Okay. So then you and I probably have the same TV. I thought there was too much green screen. To me, when I watched it last night, and I was like, yesterday afternoon, and I was like, what the hell? It seems like a lot of green screen. There was a lot of good parts to it, but I thought there was a lot of green screen that kind of didn't look the greatest to me. But I didn't mind the episode. I actually liked the episode because they weren't jumping back and forth. They stayed in one world, and they kind of just like, we got to get on a train, and we got to charge this thing, and then it breaks, and then it's hilarious. And
well, that's the thing is they're only doing 6 episodes, but they have set this universe up so that they can do any number of episodes. They want to make a Jurassic Park episode, they can do that. They want to make an Aliens episode, they can do that. They want to, you know what I mean? They can basically go into any situation and the end of the world is coming. Everyone's going to die if we don't get out of here or fix the problem. It's basically, they've set it up to create a slider series, and that's really cool. Back to what I was saying though about this episode, I thought it was beautifully shot. I thought it looked really good. I thought it felt a little bit like a filler episode, but they filled it with a lot of exposition to explain things that they had to get out of the way and explain.
Yeah, so they got guys like me who said, I'm getting tired of it. They kind of had an episode for us to kind of catch up on, and then it started to make sense. So if you stream it, if you binge it, So people who don't watch it and you binge it, episode 3 will catch you up on 1 and 2, so it'll be fresh in your mind.
Sure.
So if you're like, oh yeah, I can't figure this out. What the hell's going on here? Episode 3 we should just bring you right back up and tie everything up for you.
So you're looking forward to episode 4?
Yeah, I think so. I think it'll be a good time.
Yeah,
I'm hoping, but I hope they bring back like a famous. I'm not saying that like Loki's not famous, but I want to see like, am I going to get to see Thor or somebody cool?
It'd be fun if they did something like that. I don't know. I had a thought is, and maybe I shouldn't say it, but maybe I'll save it for off the air because it could be inappropriate.
This episode's been appropriate. We've been off the rails for an hour and a half, man.
Well, we could see an episode where they're in the Twin Towers for 9/11 because that's the end of. It could be in the building, and
there's no fucking way they do that. Do you think?
Like I said, I probably should have waited to say that off the show, but I'm just saying that is a situation in our lifetime where if they
apocalypse happens.
Well, it's a situation where they could be on one of those floors and they could be interacting with people. It would be a sad episode. Absolutely. Very sad. But they could be interacting with people in that situation and know what's going to happen.
Or he could be a pilot that doesn't get killed and avoids the tower.
Ooh, that's an interesting thing, is he could be on the plane too.
Yeah, it could just be on the.
You know what though? These are really morbid things I really wish I didn't say. These are ideas that could happen, that they could do, but yeah, I don't know.
Does he go back, or does he go back at the end? Does he go back to New York and does he stop the old Loki and just destroy that whole thing?
Yeah.
Says you can't do this because this is going to destroy everything. Mm-hmm. This is going to destroy Asgard. And then shows him what happens to Asgard. And he goes, okay, I'm not going to do this.
Well, I do think at some point they're going to end up in Ragnarok. I do think that is absolutely where this is going. Ragnarok for sure. I think.
Or he goes and kills his sister.
I don't know. Maybe. I just think that Ragnarok is probably where this is going to end up towards the end of the series. His apocalypse is the one that's coming. But with that said, that's all I got for Loki. You got anything else?
Nothing else, my friend. That is it for me.
Cool. So I did want to say that we've been doing this for a year.
It was, and it was a fucking show that we'll just burn the tape of.
Well, 1 year doing this, I think the show's still entertaining. I think we had a great time. And 1 year later, we're still going strong.
Absolutely. I think we're going to go for at least one more year. Even after today, we'll go one more year. Sucker for punishment.
All right. Well, I'm going to end the show.
All right, guys. Guys, I want to thank everybody for watching today. We had some fuck-ups during the beginning of it. Then we got Adam fired up, and now we're ending it on a good note.
Yeah.
Well, like and subscribe and follow Junk Drawer videos, and make sure you hit the little icon to get notifications like everybody else does to make sure that we're all in the same boat.
Yeah. Well, actually, you're reminding me is if we talk about something on this show, please, if you see somebody talking about it and you want to share our opinion, please do that. We really appreciate it. And like Jean-Marc said, like, comment, and subscribe.